Hi there. Welcome to MWW Talks. My name is Stephen Macias, and I'm the Senior Vice President at MWW in charge of the LGBT practice. MWW is a global firm from London to Los Angeles with multiple practices, and these forums, MWW Talks, are intended to provide some insights, some education, and some opportunities for folks across the country to learn from experts in their fields. Today's topic, which I apologize in advance, is going to be moderated by me with a little bit of a cold of a voice. So this is not my normal sound, but this is what we're going to work with today, and I have everyone's patience. Today we have three really fantastic guests, three people who represent success, people who represent business, people who represent a set of experience that really is fantastic and is a great set of teachable moments across the board. I'm going to introduce each one of our panelists and give them the opportunity before we begin our discussion what it is that their organization or their business does and what they do within the context of the organization. So today the first panelist I'd like to introduce is Frank Matsranuthy. Frank, hi, welcome.
Hey Stephen, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Where are you at? What do you do where you're at? Tell us all about you, Frank.
Great. So I'm currently the Senior Vice President of Business Development for an interactive agency called Ray Interactive in Venice, California. We specialize in development of all things interactive. We're one of Facebook's 26 preferred marketing developers. So basically we've done custom Facebook pages for brands and properties that we can go on and on. And on the entrepreneur side, I have I have a gay and lesbian harmony site called onegoodlove.com that brought me to Ray Interactive.
Fantastic. And our second guest panelist today is Marquita Thomas. Marquita, welcome. Glad to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I am the Executive Director of the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. It is a 35-year-old organization that exists to increase the economic strength of the LGBT and allied professional community. And we are an affiliate chamber of the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, and we service the greater Los Angeles area.
Awesome. Well, welcome. I know that you do so much good work for helping our businesses in our community. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And last but certainly not least is the man who tortures many of us in the mornings here in Los Angeles, New York, and the country, the founder of Barry's Boot Camp, Barry J. Hi, Barry.
Hey, Stephen. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Welcome. Glad to see you.
Oh, glad to be here. Thanks for asking me.
So tell us about Barry's Boot Camp and what your role is now in the boot camp that's all across the United States and across various countries.
Well, we say it's the best workout in the world. It involves treadmills and free weights, and it's broken down into muscle groups for each day. You get incredible results. There's a huge camaraderie. We have like the low red lights, the hot instructors, motivational, sarcastic humor, all that stuff blended into one to make like a workout party in a box. And my role is, it varies. I'm still a trainer, and I train 3 days a week, 9 classes a week in LA, and I visit the other locations when I go to New York, which is, I would say 35 to 40% of the time. I'm there like 6 or 7 days a week teaching, and I'm an active. I have 3 business partners. I'm an active 4th partner. I wouldn't call myself the captain of the ship, but I created the workout. I designed it, and just founder and director of the curriculum.
And your name is on the door, Barry, so that makes, in our eyes, that makes you the most important. Well, welcome to all of you today. We wanted to start out with a really kind of fundamental question. When people start businesses, when we go into new business ventures, I think as anything that's new that we do in life, we learn lessons around what worked, what didn't work, things that we share with our friends and our family, with our clients around lessons that are valuable learned. I wanted to kind of put it out there to each one of you to share what you think is a valuable lesson in either your business life that you've had as it relates to One Good Love or to Ray Interactive or to the Chamber or to, of course, Barry's Boot Camp, which I know started here in West Hollywood and has grown exponentially across all sorts of different areas. Wanted to start with Barry. Barry, you started this Barry's Boot Camp. What year did Barry's Boot Camp start?
October 1998.
1998, and it was just in West Hollywood, or was it West Hollywood and Sherman Oaks?
No. West Hollywood was the first store, and it stood alone for the first 5 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
Sherman Oaks came along.
And so, in starting Barry's Boot Camp, what were some of the reasons that motivated you and your business partners to see a business and to, secondly, and the second part of that question, to understand the viability of growing that business outside of West Hollywood?
There was in my mind, there was a clear vision of something that did not exist that I knew people would love and would work. You know, it was basically the idea of I would go to the gym and work out really hard with free weights, and then I would go to a class and have a really great time in the environment. But the class environment wasn't giving me the gym free weights, and the gym free weights wasn't giving me that party fun. And I was like, there needs to be a marriage, you know? And so I think having a clear vision of something that's a niche market or a void that needs to be filled is important, you know? And I tested it out along the way, working at other places. I worked at one of the box gyms teaching an aerobics type class with weights, light weights, and I would have them go downstairs to the gym area and bring up the real weights. So I knew that you could work in a class environment with right-sized free weights. I also knew that the lighting sucked, pardon my pun, in all those 80s and 90s aerobic rooms and gyms. So I was like, what's bright white lights? I don't want to see myself like this. And for some reason, I can't even tell you why, I feel like Billy Porter in Kinky Boots when I say this, but red just stuck out. It just did. Red was in my head, and I saw it. Frank, you've seen the show. Yeah, just red was it. So, you know, so that's an important thing. And then moving on to the second question is, it was working, you know. And I think when you live in LA and you have something that works and it's working in West Hollywood, you sort of like LA, the Valley. It's just sort of a natural. It's like, well, and my partners lived in the Valley, so I think their mentality was in Valley anyway. I don't think I actually thought about the Valley that much. Living in West Hollywood. But once the subject came up, it seemed like it made sense. And then a friend of mine who's actually here with me today, watching this, that you all met, found a location and it worked. And that old saying, location, 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 is so true. You know, the parking being central, people want to, you know, it just matters being in the Mecca where the dense population is.
Right.
So we found a good place in Sherman Oaks and went for it.
So you had a vision for your business. You saw a void that needed to be filled with a consumer audience, with a product that wasn't being sold to folks here in Los Angeles, and you built that business on that vision and the need from the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And when you look back now in the late 90s when we started Barry's Boot Camp, if you had to go back and talk to the Barry in 1998, the Barry from 2014, what would you tell the Barry of 1998 not to do again?
Oh, hold on, my thing.
She lost an earring.
Okay, she's back. Toss. That's a really good question, and to answer it honestly, I would have to say, stay more present longer. You know, and I was extremely present as an instructor. I taught 40 classes a week, and I guess because I taught so much in the very beginning, I was very into, you know, working with my partners on the PR and getting stuff going and writing release and what we're making daily and blah, blah, blah. And the attendance, and I guess things started rolling on their own, and we started hiring more instructors. And I would tell that Barry just to not just be an instructor and say now it's built. Yes, I designed the workout and I was teaching lots of classes, but be more involved in the business end is what I would say. Just
the business of the business, and not just what happened at the beginning of class and what happened at the end of class, so to speak.
Right. And not just the big things that would come up throughout the week, and stay with the nuts and bolts.
That's great advice. And I think that, when we look across the business spectrum from small business to big business, we have organizations that sort of pull us together so that we can learn from each other. And the LA Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce is a fantastic resource and an organization here in Southern California that is, of course, as Marquita mentioned, part of a national organization that's based in DC. Marquita, I wanted to ask you, you talk to so many different people and so many different kinds of businesses. What are some of the lessons that you've heard from people about things that work as it relates to growing their businesses here, especially in a competitive marketplace? Los Angeles, New York, some of the larger cities have a lot of people competing for the same piece of the pie. What are some of the lessons that you've heard people share with you that you'd like to share with other business owners?
Well, you're right, Stephen. It is a very competitive area. It's a very competitive footprint. And in this economic climate, just overall, the most important thing for a business owner is to understand the power of relationships. People do business with people they like. And so now more than ever, it's important that people build strategic alliances with other professionals and business owners and organizations, obviously, and to really make sure that they're connecting with their potential client base in a very meaningful way, establishing themselves as experts, finding ways to, even with your competition, find ways to build a relationship where it could be such that someone that you think is your competitor may not do some of the things that you do and can push business your way. So, but you have to build those relationships to see if there's that sweet spot. Right. So that's really more, like I said, more than anything, you have to build relationships. We're not living in the 50s where if you just did a commercial, people believe that, that product really will get my shirts white and I'll just buy it. People are really, inundated with advertising everywhere. You're getting advertising on your coffee cups now. So people are starting to turn a blind eye. I mean, I'm not going to say advertising is dead. That's certainly not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't resonate at the same level that it did some 40, 50 years ago. And now people are very wary, and we've got social media. People are asking for references and referrals. They're going to sites where people they never met before are giving their input. So you really have to build that relationship. You have to build a relationship with your clients, you have to build a relationship with your competitors, and you have to build relationships with the organizations that are tasked with making sure that you are the best professional that you can be and help you with referrals and other resources.
Do you find that those relationships that people have with businesses online, say on Yelp or any of the reviews, do they have an impact on people's business growing or having challenges as it relates to building new customers?
Certainly. People are so, as I said, they're very wary. How many times have you bought a product that promised to, grow hair, make you lose weight, do this and do that or whatever?
Make me lose weight for sure, yeah. I got a cabinet of stuff that I've taken 5 things out of each one of them and still, it's back to berries.
Right. If we could just get back, a tenth of the money that we've spent on products that didn't work, we could probably go on vacation. So certainly those sites where people are putting recommendations and they're talking about those experiences, those are really having a huge impact on people's businesses. Clearly every business is working towards providing the best products and services and customer service as possible, but sometimes they don't, or sometimes there's an experience, sometimes there's a issue with people who don't understand certain communities, and you want to know that before you put down your hard-earned money. And so there's there are always positives and negatives to everything, but I think those referral and recommendation sites they certainly have more good than bad when it comes to that.
You bring up a really interesting point, which is understanding communities that they are setting up shop in. So, the LGBT community, many people and statistics support this, that we are a brand loyal community, that we're a community that will spend money where we know that we're welcome. How do you help your LGBT businesses, but in particular your allied businesses that you mentioned before? What kind of advice do you give them about how to understand and build bridges to the LGBT community?
We have corporate partners who are looking to align with the LGBT community, and we're very thankful for that. And we typically talk to them about what it means to connect with the community in a way that's authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Putting two guys on the cover of their marketing materials is aligning with the LGBT community. And we have to say, but they're not even, are they brothers? What's going on in this picture? Just really making corporations understand, or businesses across the board understand, that we're not so different. We're not aliens. We're not, these strange, bizarre creatures. We love and live just like you do. We go on vacation like you do. So your marketing material should reflect a life that mirrors a heterosexual couple. So the men should be holding hands. The men should be gazing into each other's eyes. They should be, depict a loving couple. I literally saw marketing materials where these two guys were walking on the beach, and they had their little pants legs rolled up, and they were walking on the sand, and I was just like, are they twins? Are they brothers? I don't know what's going on in this picture. I mean, people walk on the beach with their brothers, maybe. I don't know, but I'm like, can they hold hands? Can they, you can't be afraid. You can't have an initiative to align with the LGBT community and then be afraid to do so in a like I said, an authentic way. So, you have to go full throttle. Well, within reason, obviously. But the same thing that you would do in the heterosexual market, you should do in the LGBT market. And then beyond that, it's about just kind of correcting verbiage sometimes. There's never been I've never been in a situation where it's been disrespectful, but one thing I hear a lot, more than I care to, is, I've really been looking to connect with that community. And it's just like, what do you mean that community? Like, it's almost like a pejorative at this point. It's just like, you can say gay, like we're okay, you can say gay, you can say LGBT, explaining to them, it means more. If you're not afraid to say the word gay. If you're afraid to say the word gay, then why would I want to do business with you if you're so afraid of who I am? And it needs to be, it's just kind of calm down and relax, and it's okay. And so correcting the marketing material sometimes, and then correcting the wording, and just letting them know, we're the same. We really are. We love, we live, and we want to protect our families, and we want to do so in a way that, in the same ways that the heterosexual people do.
Yeah, I think that the theme there that you touch on so eloquently is about being authentic. And any time that you are marketing a campaign or a product, it's important to be authentic in how you go about doing that. And I think, one of the things that Frank Mastranuzzi has done so well over the years in building a dating site, a genuine dating site for the LGBT community, has been about images that have been authentic. Frank, can you talk a little bit about how it is that you went about building your business, One Good Love, and how it is that you go about being authentic in the new role that you play over at Ray Interactive?
Good question. So everything that's been said so far has been phenomenal. Part of the reason why I built One Good Love was I was working at Match.com, and they were doing the same things that Marquita mentioned, right? There's not a lot of stock photography that's out there on the major sites that depict gay couples truly as gay couples. They look like brothers. They look like they're watching sports. So I've seen time after time what I used to call window dressing. OkCupid and a couple of sites still do it, in that they put in, OkCupid's a good example where they put in a tagline that says we're the best dating site in the world, but when you tell them you're gay, then there's a carrot that says we're the best gay dating site. So that to me doesn't come across as authentic. So that was kind of why we built One Good Love the way we did, Stephen. We went out there and said, okay, what are the things that they're not doing, that they're not addressing? And so we built it from the ground up to take into consideration the types of profile questions that people want to hear or want to ask that they're not asking. Being here in LA, we were afforded the great ability to have access to a lot of real gay couples. So we didn't use stock photography. We steered clear of stock photography and spent the money to shoot real couples that we know and that are part of the community and people know. So our last campaign had real couples from LA, from New York. So again, that first is the first line, as Marquita says. That's the first line of kind of defense or approach. But then the dialogue that you continue to have with the community has to still remain authentic. So it can't be a landing page and that looks great, and then once you get into the service, that dialogue or discourse doesn't continue. It has to continue all the way through. So we do that with our social media. We do that with our content. All our articles, are written from a gay perspective on love advice. So, we've reached out and built a network of coaches that are gay and lesbian life coaches. So again, it's everywhere you turn. Every piece that's touching the One Good Love brand is authentic and continues that same dialogue. I'm taking that across now to Ray Interactive because I've seen how difficult it is as a gay entrepreneur to build a business in a very predominantly heterosexual business or world, raising funds, building technology. There's not many gay techies out there. There's still unicorns in my opinion. If you find a gay programmer, it's a unicorn. So you still have to build a business. And kind of approach it by making instilling a lot of support of what Marquita said, is building strong alliances with folks to help build your business and understand what you're doing. So that's why I kind of moved over to Ray. I've been helping a lot of gay businesses get off the ground, get technology products built. I've in the 2 months I've been there, I've brought in a lot of gay entrepreneurs that were having trouble finding someone to build their products.
That's fantastic, and I think you do point out the good point in that having champions and allies within an organization to sort of champion your product, whether it's through fundraising or distribution of a product, and it really speaks to again what our friend from the chamber speaks about, which is about building those relationships. What kinds of support groups, Marquita, as it relates to the chamber or other organizations, do you think business owners can be going to find support around? For example, what does the chamber here in LA and what does the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce offer entrepreneurs and business owners?
On the local level, the LAGLCC, we provide a variety of networking opportunities as well as educational outlets. We have speaker series, and what we do is because, and it also answers your other question of what other means of support there is. In a major metropolitan city, there are so many LGBT organizations, professional organizations. So what we do is, as I said earlier about relationship building, we build alliances with those groups. We do joint events with them, whether they are mixers or if they're educational seminars. We really work with, there's the lesbian and gay lawyers, the gay realtors, and it just goes on and on. There's just so many many LGBT organizations, and so we work closely with them. Helps professionals have a larger network, and we do that work, and then of course we work with our corporate partners and with their strategic.
Awesome. Hey, Marquita, we're gonna cut over to Barry for just a second while our IT folks, meaning Brandon, take a look at you. We're losing you just there a moment, so
just a little
we'll get somebody over to you just in a moment.
Okay.
So I'm gonna flip over to Barry here. Barry, you guys have been growing your businesses across the country. How have you found ways to connect that branding and growth of Barry's boot camp franchises in different cities? What kind of support and networking had to happen in order for Barry's to happen in Tennessee? I think there's a Tennessee Barry's, or that are now happening, I believe, in Bloomingdale's in New York City.
Okay, and I'm getting a little bit of audio distortion, but I think I got most of the question. So forgive me if I missed some of the answer. That's why I'm not losing my mind.
Yes, you are, Barry.
Okay, maybe a little. You know, a lot of things have to happen, and it's a road to get there. You know, of course, a franchise company has to be opened. And one of my partners is a lawyer and went through the journey of figuring out how that's accomplished. You know, I think there's also a foundation building before becoming a franchise, which when Joey Gonzalez came along, you know, we opened in San Diego, and then he literally upped his life, took some supportive people with him to New York and opened up Chelsea. And supportive people, I mean, within the walls of boot camp, instructors, retail managers, so forth, that were already working with us and already a big part of his life. And that was a huge, big, important move, you know, to have suddenly an East Coast location that's doing so well. And then came the franchise. And I know it was sort of a learn as you go thing for all of us. And I can't say that there haven't been mistakes. We'd all, you know, if we could, we'd do certain things differently. But we've been very, very fortunate with the franchisees we've met with and chosen to go forward with. But there's not been a strategic plan. Like, I can't tell you the four of us sat around a table and said, we need to find a Nashville location. Antonio came to us, took the class, fell in love with the brand, and filled out the application. And we went from there, you know, and that's the same thing that happened with London and Boston, et cetera, and so on. And now we're actually pretty much slowed down the franchising domestically for a little bit, you know, to keep some of the major territories available, even though we love the franchises that we have.
Right.
And they're all doing, you know, knock wood, they're all doing really well. And they're all run by some really great, fit, fun, upbeat people who love the brand, you know. And I think that was a key with the franchises working. I think, you know, and we tell each and every one of them that this is going to be your new life. You know, you're not going to just put this, you know, the four walls up and then just go play golf. You know,
right.
It's got to be, you know, you're going to love being there. You're going to be there all the time. It's, you know, and if you do, it'll succeed. You know, it's that being present thing. So,
it's one of the things that I've watched and admired is that your shop in West Hollywood really seems to be an incubator for your franchises across the country. Whether it's our friend who was teaching in Los Angeles who moved to Miami and opened up his franchise there, and it really all right. It all focuses in on being consistent with your product and your brand, and that experience that people want to take outwards.
Yeah, and there's a full manual that they get, and then there's also a training team of us that go out, and we actually walk them through the process of setting up the store and all that kind of stuff. And it's exciting. I think it is important. Each location is the same but slightly different. Miami certainly has its Miami feel to it, and I think it should. And then you go up to the Hamptons, which Joey set up, and it's there's some that are corporate, some that are franchise. Hamptons is corporate, but it's a completely different feel than the others. And the West Hollywood store, being the first, has morphed a little bit in upgrades over the 16 years.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of a limited space. We don't have a fuel bar. We don't have showers. There isn't room for it. Right now, we are looking to expand and working diligently towards it, and have been, but it takes our neighbors moving up and over it. That said, that little location, there's a whole community that says leave it, and then there's another community that says, oh, please, we want to look like the New York store. So it's hard to sometimes find the balance. I mean, should it be just left alone as the starter store? That's how it started. That's the seed from which everything grew. And just leave it that intimate little box, or if possible, can we keep up with the Joneses?
Well, I think when you have people lined up down the street to get in on a Saturday morning, I haven't been able to get it into a Barry's boot camp on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock for, oh gosh, I can't even remember the last time.
Text me.
Hey Barry, my vote is if we stay there, we just gotta fix the bathrooms.
Hello. We know.
I've been to Nashville, I've been to San Diego, I've been to a lot of them. So it's like once you go there and then come back, you're like,
It's hard coming back.
Yeah.
Once you drank the Kool-Aid from Chelsea and stuff. But, it's sort of like it's also dictated by availability. And, if we don't have the space, you can't really deal with changing too much. But we're working on getting the space. So with fingers crossed, it won't be an upgrade like with a fuel bar and all that, but it would be enough to alter the bathroom, get men's and women's showers, and
Right.
give it a facelift and that sort of thing. But what we can do is, keep it to the best of its ability with the treadmills and the towel service, and keep it running smoothly and cleanly as possible. And and there is a special place.
And it
in my
all
heart
happens from
for
West Hollywood, Barry. People.
Oh, I know.
Ambassadors from West Hollywood out across the country because they love what you do and they love how you do it, and they loved that for years and years. And it really does speak to sort of your network of people helping you grow your business, in the way that Marquita talks about the Chamber's ability to network people to help grow their business. And so I want to ask, from a technology front, Frank, where do LGBT technology entrepreneurs go to gather? Where are some of the places, the events that you would say, go to Austin or go to San Francisco and go to this event or that event that people may want to put down in their calendars as an opportunity to go and be mine?
Very good question and point. I would say for sure there's an organization called Start Out, the gay entrepreneur organization that started in San Francisco. So it has a pretty tech heavy feel, but they're moving into non-tech businesses. But it's a good starting point. Also, South by Southwest, the Technology and Interactive Conference, actually had for the first year a gay track, which was phenomenal. And so I was really impressed that there was a whole track if you wanted to take interactive courses or seminars that focused on being an LGBT technology company. And Startup was part of that and was pushing the envelope on that, and a lot of the companies here in LA and New York were there. I think Start Out and South by the Interactive are great ways to get and plugged in and involved, and also going to just like we joke about West Hollywood being where everyone comes back to, and I still agree, it's like the original Pinkberry. Coming back to West Hollywood still makes you feel warm and fuzzy. I think when you go to San Francisco and you're in the mix of and there are gay entrepreneurs that have been successful in Silicon Valley, I feel like that kind of recharges my battery and wants me to come back to LA and Silicon Beach and keep that moving forward.
What do you read to keep up on where new opportunities are for entrepreneurs? What are those publications that you find helpful to give you a perspective on the day?
There's a handful that I religiously read. I think Fast Company and Entrepreneur Magazine are really good publications that have morphed and help folks from all levels wanting to do a startup. Fast Company, I just was really impressed. Fast Company did a really heavy push today on Cornetto's 8-minute video, the European ice cream company that did an 8-minute lesbian relationship video, and it was impressive that Fast Company made it their lead story in online and offline. So I think those are good, those are good entrepreneur magazines. I also think if you start looking at the ad weeks in the advertising areas, you'll see front and center a lot of the content and reaching the LGBT market. I'll say over the last couple of months, I'm really impressed with how they've helped move into that role of keeping you plugged into how to apply technology to the community. I always notice the 1 or 2 or 3 things that they're doing, but they're spot on, and they're moving and they're making it a bigger piece of their offering. Again, the standards are TechCrunch. I mean, if you look at TechCrunch and Mashable and Reddit's and everything there, I think that's moving at the speed of the internet. And again, front and center always there happens to be a focus on an LGBT or organization or company that's making waves. So I think you kind of have to plug into the main artery and then morph it for what you're doing.
I think the speed of the internet and the rate of information and ideas changing so quickly, fueled by cultural and political victories in the LGBT space, have really changed the landscape greatly. I wanted to ask Marquita, because we've got Marquita back now. I wanted to ask Marquita what kinds of changes at the chamber, both from a local here in California and sort of a national perspective, what kind of changes have happened for the positive for LGBT business owners and allied businesses who are marketing towards the LGBT audience as cultural and political victories have happened?
Well, I think that, I know actually the one big thing that has changed in a very positive way is that the chamber was born out of a need. It was initially a safe space for LGBT companies, brick and mortars, who felt targeted by the local police and government, and it was a very anti-gay climate at the time. So it was really born out of a to be a safe space, and that is a far cry from where it is today, where we are. People can't get to us fast enough. It's a space of thriving, and companies are looking for LGBT professionals to align with. They want to get in front of the LGBT market. They want to showcase their diversity with the LGBT market. They want to throw rainbow flags on everything, and they really just want to show that. Their love for the LGBT community, and 35 years ago, that was certainly not. That was absolutely not the case. So that's obviously the most positive thing, positive change that's happened with the chamber. And then even on a national level, the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce's National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce is working with corporations and with government on LGBT certification, which, while LGBT is not on a federal level recognized as a protected class, there are unique procurement opportunities for LGBT businesses. So whereas certification was limited to African American, Latino, women-owned businesses, veteran and disabled, there are now opportunities for LGBT businesses. So there are a lot of contracts that are available. And again, to if you owned a business 35 years ago and you didn't want anyone to know that you were gay, that's obviously very exciting, and it's very positive and progressive change. And for that, we're all very grateful. So that's obviously the most positive change. And also the other changes that I've seen are that businesses are really starting to understand the power and the need for diversity in all its different forms. They see the benefit of not only being able to speak to their audiences, but also all of the additional services that come out of understanding your audience. The Internally, there's a loyalty that comes with knowing that your company sees you and supports you as a diverse individual in whatever way that looks like. So there's nothing but good things to be said for diversity, and to have LGBT included in that diversity is fantastic. There's obviously a long way to go. There's still some things that need to be worked on. And as for the chamber, these companies that are looking to align with the LGBT community, while we think that that's fantastic and we welcome that and we will certainly bring them into the fold, we have to do our part in making sure that the authenticity is there. So you want to do work in the LGBT space because you read an article that says we have all this disposable income, but do you have protections in your employment policies, in your benefits, in your, do you have, domestic partner benefits? Do you have your policies? Do you have anti-discrimination written into your policies and procedures? Are there are there protections for your LGBT employees? We have to look at that and make sure that people aren't just aligning with us because they see that as as an additional revenue source.
Right.
So, and it's just very important that we not get so caught up in this positive change and believe for a second that everyone's effort is altruistic. We really have to be mindful of the fact that there are those who just see it as an emerging trend, and they aren't coming from the right space. So that's important for all of us, whether it's an organization working with the LGBT community or an LGBT professional who's selling pens on the street. You have to make sure that your community is not being exploited.
Barry, as a LGBT business owner in West Hollywood, I would imagine that being a business owner and being openly gay is a fairly comfortable thing here. As Marquita mentioned, there are many places across the country where there is still work to be done to provide safeguards. What, from a sort of personal note to LGBT business owners in different parts of the country, what would you say to them to encourage them to continue moving forward with their vision in the face of perhaps discrimination or pushback on being an owner of a business and being gay?
I wasn't openly gay until a moment ago. All right, who am I kidding? It's kind of funny because I guess
you're killing Marquita over here.
I never think about it. I just am who I am, and I do what I do, and I realize that there is a situation out there, but it's not like I've ever gone to someplace like Bergen, Norway, where we have a franchise and acted different or thought if I had to. It just never really crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And I think, just being authentic and being comfortable in your own skin and I think Marquita was saying something like this about it just being, who we are. We're not like a separate thing. We're people. We go on vacations. I own a business. It's just happens to be my who I am. And I say, I think I understand the question. As far as support and whatnot, I just think if we just all stick together, support each other, encourage each other, of course, hire each other. You know, it really does. I think it's really important when I go other places. It's not like I'm looking to see if I'm one of 10 gays or you know, or the only gay, or it just doesn't cross my mind. It's just I've been very fortunate to be in very open, loving environments so far. And one of the great things I love about boot camp is the community and how, you know, it's just so open to one and all, you know, and I think that's something I'm really proud of, because wherever it goes, that seems to follow, you know, it really not dependent on city to city. I felt the same love in Nashville and Bergen as I do in West Hollywood, and been as out and open everywhere. But I do think that there are organizations in each city, you know, to work with and network with and join with and become strong with as a community, you know, and that's important, you know.
Well, I think what I'm hearing you say is to not lose sight of your good business vision around building a successful business by not being who you are.
Yeah.
You think sort of intrinsically linked to each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Frank, when you look at sort of the political and cultural change from when you worked at Match.com to now 2014, what do you think some of the biggest positive changes in the business and corporate world have been around LGBT businesses and allied businesses reaching out to the audience?
Well, I definitely think, you know, even when I was at Match, we weren't focused on targeting the LGBT market. We kind of served the market, but there wasn't a big piece of the marketing strategy or advertising strategy that was focused. I think what you see now drastically changing, and I talk about this all the time. I mean, I'm shocked to see a lot of the companies that are allocating a percentage of their advertising marketing budget and creating unique advertisements and for the community, like, you know, all the travel companies, Marriott. I mean, I'm impressed. When I was at Match, you know, the advertising companies weren't targeting the LGBT market. Now there's print ads that are specific to the community, like Vegas. You know, Vegas is a good example, right? So I think that's what's changed dramatically. You'll see it in even online dating. I see it all the time where Match and IAC's properties are targeting and have created ads that are unique to the community. That didn't happen in 2001 to 2005 even. So that has changed dramatically.
Yeah, there is an abundance of opportunity, and a lot of it's a new frontier for many of us who have been working in this space and working with corporate and individual businesses and entrepreneurs to maximize that. I want to thank each one of you today for bringing your insights, your warmth, your personality, and your good advice for people that are watching across the country. Before we sign off, I wanted just to have folks be able to know where it is that each one of you there could be found more information around. Barry, what's the web address for Barry's Bootcamp?
barrysbootcamp.com.
Okay, that's a pretty good, easy to remember email address.
No apostrophe.
Where can people find more about you?
You can find.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear.
You can find me at barrysbootcamp.com too. No, I'm there enough. You can find me at reyinteractive.com. That's the interactive agency we're working at, and then also at onegoodlove.com. You can find my information there too.
Awesome. And Marquita, Executive Director of the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, where can people find out more about how to get involved with you?
You can find you can find us online at laglcc.org. We are updating our website, so check it out now and then look for it again in 3 weeks. You'll see a fascinating, wonderful new website. I can be reached directly at marquita@laglcc.org if you have any questions about the organization. And I can be found on every social media platform on earth under the same name.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, and you can find all three of these wonderful individuals and upcoming panelists and discussions from MWW Talks LGBT at mww.com. We are thrilled to have a growing, thriving LGBT practice, and it's because of people like each one of our panelists today that we are able to experience a growth of opportunity and a wide open American landscape. This is Stephen Macias for MWW Talks. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Steven.
you.